Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that her perfect marriage is a lie after I found her husband cheating? I'm Janelle, 34, and I'm the older sister by 4 years. My family is the kind where we do everything together, family dinners, holidays, birthdays, you name it. So when Daisy married Jordan, we all thought it was a match made in heaven. They were the couple everyone envied. Jordan was charming, good-looking, had a solid job as a lawyer, and always seemed to be madly in love with Daisy. She was glowing every time she talked about him. I was happy for her. I wanted her to have the kind of love I'd been looking for myself. My relationships have been good, let's just say I have a better chance of winning the lottery than finding a guy who treats me like Jordan treated Daisy. But then, this happened. It was about a month ago when everything changed. Daisy had asked me to meet her for lunch at our favorite cafe in downtown Portland. I was late, of course I have a habit of running behind schedule, and when I finally walked in, I noticed Daisy was sitting at our usual table, but she wasn't alone. There was a man sitting across from her. I didn't recognize him at first, but I noticed how they were laughing and talking like they were old friends. I took a seat, threw my coat over the chair, and gave them both a polite smile. Daisy introduced him as Matt, a colleague from the nonprofit she worked at. Nothing seemed off at the time, but when Daisy started talking about Jordan, I noticed something weird. She looked sad. Jordan's been working late again, she said, stirring her coffee absently. And when he is home, he's so distracted. He's always on his phone or just zoning out. I don't know what's going on. I'd heard her complain about Jordan before, but this sounded different. This was more than the usual "he's not giving me enough attention" complaints. This sounded like she was genuinely worried about their relationship. Have you talked to him about it? I asked, trying to keep my tone casual. I had no idea what kind of storm was about to hit me. Yeah, she sighed. But every time I bring it up, he brushes it off. He says work is just stressful, that's all. I nodded, not really knowing what else to say. But it wasn't long before things started to take a darker turn. Later that week, I was at a bar with some friends, catching up after a long workday. I'd had one too many cocktails, but I was still aware enough when I noticed Jordan walk into the bar. He was with a woman I didn't recognize, blonde, slim, wearing one of those tight dresses that immediately made me feel insecure about my own wardrobe choices. The two of them were laughing and talking a little too closely. Jordan's hand was resting on her lower back, and she was leaning into him, like they were way more than just friends. I don't know what made me do it, but I pulled out my phone and snapped a quick picture. I wasn't sure why, but it just felt like I needed evidence, just in case. I had a gut feeling that something wasn't right, and I couldn't just ignore it. The next few days were a blur. I kept replaying that image of Jordan with that woman in my head, and my anxiety kept growing. I couldn't stop thinking about my sister, how happy and trusting she was, and how she would probably never, ever suspect that her perfect husband was cheating on her. So, I did what I thought was the responsible thing. I called her. "Hey, Daisy, I need to talk to you about something," I said, trying to sound casual. But I could hear my heart pounding in my chest. "What's up?" she asked, her voice sounding light, as if she had no idea that her world was about to come crashing down. "I saw Jordan last night. At a bar. He was with a woman. They were all over each other, Daisy." There was a long pause. My gut twisted. I could almost hear her brain working overtime, trying to process what I had just told her. "What do you mean, all over each other?" she finally asked, her voice shaking. "I mean he was touching her. Like, really close." I snapped a picture. "I can send it to you if you want." I felt bad for mentioning the picture, but I also knew that if I didn't show her proof, she might never believe me. And if she didn't believe me, the reality of what was happening could slip away. She didn't say anything for a long time. It felt like an eternity. Then, finally, she said, I just can't believe that." I didn't know what to say. The silence stretched out between us like a thick fog. "Daisy, I don't want to hurt you, but I'm not going to sit back and pretend I didn't see what I saw. He's cheating on you. I'm sorry, but it's the truth." It took a while, but eventually, she asked me to send her the picture. The aftermath was like a slow-motion train wreck. Daisy didn't confront Jordan immediately. In fact, she seemed almost paralyzed with disbelief. She wouldn't talk to me for a few days, then, when she finally did, it was to tell me that Jordan had denied everything. He claimed that the woman was just a work acquaintance who had been going through a tough time and needed support. He called her a friend, one of those work friends who just happened to be overly affectionate, I guess. But Daisy wasn't buying it, not for long. A week later, Daisy called me crying. She said she had confronted him again, and this time he had admitted everything. He told her that he had been seeing this woman, named Veronica, for about 6 months. They had even gone on weekends away together. Daisy was crushed. Her heart was shattered, and I could hear the devastation in her voice. "I can't believe I was so blind," she said. "How did I not see it?" I didn't know what to say. It wasn't like I had some magic answer that would make it all better. But I tried to comfort her, tried to remind her that this wasn't her fault, that she didn't deserve to be treated this way. "I'm here for you, Daisy. Whatever you need, I've got your back. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of family drama, legal consultations, and constant tension. Daisy filed for divorce, but the hardest part was what came after. The conversations with our parents were tall. Mom kept asking why she didn't see the warning signs, why she didn't question things earlier. Dad just wanted her to get over it and move on, but he wasn't the best at emotional support. Meanwhile, Jordan was trying to save face. He was calling and texting Daisy nonstop, begging for forgiveness. He even came to her house, standing outside in the rain, pleading for another chance. But Daisy was done. She had seen enough. The man she had loved for so long wasn't the person she thought he was. The real kicker came when Daisy finally told me that Jordan was threatening to sue her for alienation of affection. Apparently, Veronica had her lawyer contact Jordan, claiming that my sister had somehow ruined their perfect relationship. It was all so absurd, and I couldn't help but feel enraged. What kind of person sues someone for exposing their cheating? And then, a couple of days ago, I found out that Jordan was already living with Veronica. He'd moved in with her almost immediately after the divorce papers were filed. It was like they were already planning their next chapter, without a second thought for the wreckage he had caused. I'm not sure where Daisy goes from here. She's in therapy, and I think that's helping a bit. But she's still devastated. She's still asking herself why she didn't see it sooner, why she didn't trust her gut when something felt off. She tells me every day how angry she is, but also how broken she feels. And I can't help but feel guilty. Did I do the right thing? Should I have kept quiet and let her figure it out herself? Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that her perfect marriage was a lie, or should I have stayed out of it entirely? So, what do you think? Was I wrong to bring this all up? Should I have kept quiet, or did I do the right thing by opening her eyes before it got worse?